Welcome, everybody. This is Jeff Lightsey Jr. here with the Black Boss channel. Thank you guys for tuning in. I'm going to allow for some of you to come into the room. I will allow for some of you to come into the room because our broadcast just began. But what we have to talk about is very, very important. Now, once again, for all of those who do not know, my name is Jeff Lightsey Jr. I am with the Black Boss channel. And I just state the facts. I just try to put the facts out there and allow the people to be the judges of the facts, right? So the facts are the jab has been pushed to any and everybody that will listen, specifically those of melanated people. We're all black people here, and we understand how this thing works. Things that are typically good and the best for us they don't come for free. They don't always come in just little tightly knit packages and just for everybody to really go out there and benefit from. Like, that's just the history of what's taking place. Shout out to Jeff Yu for checking in. Thank you guys, and please hit the thumbs up button on your way in, because today we are here to talk about Dr. Anthony Fauci. Dr. Anthony Fauci has been the lead expert of all things jab related, right? All things pandemic, all things jab related. And so now a colleague, a co-worker of Dr. Anthony Fauci is challenging Dr. Fauci's push for jab mandates across the country. So for those of you who do not know, there is this thing going on, right, where they are forcing Americans to get the jab. Certain jobs won't hire you or won't allow you to be in the building. Certain jobs are firing people. Certain cities have jab mandates to enter buildings, to enter arenas, whether it's sporting events, to enter restaurants, to enter gyms, to enter all these different places. Shout out to Precious SoCal Gardner and Righteous Daughter, B1 to all of you, and put your hashtag B1s in the chat. And so there is a ton, and Darlene X, there is a ton of pushback on these jab mandates. But what people will tell you, right, for those of you who maybe, and here's the thing, I want to make this very, very clear. Andrea McLeod, Darlene X, I want to make this very, very clear. Jeff Lightsey Jr. right here on the Black Boss channel and wherever you may be watching, I am not here to tell you whether to do one thing or to the other. I just present the facts. You make it what you want to of the facts. If you want to go out and get the jab, cool. If you don't want to get the jab, cool. I am just not about scare tactics, and I'm not about not telling the truth, not telling the facts, right? That's all I'm here to do, is just to tell you the facts and you to make an informed decision. So when people push back on the jab, or people push back on jab mandates specifically, you always hear other folks say, well, you're not a doctor. You're not an infectious disease leader. You're not Dr. Fauci. You don't see what he sees every day. You don't work with Dr. Fauci. You don't know what's going on. You're speaking foolishness. To their whatever they got going on, hey, that's cool. But see, here's a man that works with Dr. Fauci, that is a senior leader of the NIH, the National Institute of Health, that has been there, a senior leader that has been there 16 years, worked with Dr. Fauci directly for years. And he is pushing back on jab mandates. Let me hear, listen to what I'm saying. Let me know in the chat. Let me know in the comments that you are following along to what I'm saying. There was a man who was a senior leader of the NIH, which is the National Institute of Health, that is pushing back against Dr. Anthony Fauci, the one who everybody is telling you is the savior, pushing back on Dr. Fauci in the jab mandates. Don't believe me? I always tell you guys, don't just believe me. Let's believe the facts. So let me share my screen. I'm going to share from you an article from The Hill that they pretty much copied from the Washington Post. I want to say. They'll say it in here. We'll read it together. So here is what the headline says. The senior NIH expert pushes back on growing V word, mandates. We're not going to say it. His name is Dr. Matthew Memoli, favors V's in vulnerable populations, but argues population level V's could hinder the development of natural immunity. Let's read into that. And so I'm going to show you something also that all correlates, and is all of this is going to tie together, I swear, by the end of this. It says, a unvaccinated doctor who heads a research team at the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Disease, the NIAID, is leading a debate within the National Institute of Health, the NIH, the one I referenced earlier, over the ethics of the V's. You know what those are, the jabs. Matthew Memoli, a 16-year veteran at the NIH, will argue against jab mandates in a December 1st live stream roundtable session over the ethics of the mandates, which will be open for viewing within the agency, to patients, and to the public, the Wall Street Journal reported. So this is pretty much the Wall Street Journal's article, but Wall Street Journal costs and the Hill's free, but they pretty much copy it word for word. It says, quote, there's a lot of debate within the NIH whether a jab mandate is appropriate. David Wendler, a senior NIH bioethicist in charge of planning this session, told the Wall Street Journal, it's an important hot topic. An appeals court on Saturday temporarily stopped President Biden's mandate requiring employees to verify employees' jab or ensure their weekly testing. See, he was basically saying anybody that works in the building needs to get the jab. And the judge said, no, sir. No, that's not how it's going down. Memoli reported. Now listen to this. This is something that I'm just hearing about this in the last day or two. Memoli, who is a senior leader, he's a senior leader at the NIH, the National Institute of Health, reportedly wrote in an email to the NIAID, which is the infectious disease, to Director Anthony Fauci in July, that he found mandated jabs, quote, are extraordinarily problematic. This is a senior doctor. Remember, all these people tell you, you're not a doctor. You don't know what you're talking about. Well, this man is a doctor. This man works directly with Fauci. This man is in there every day. This man has access to hospitals. This man has access to the jab, trials and things like that. Like, this man is saying he wrote this back in July, that actually everybody getting the jab is more detrimental than beneficial. This is not my words. These are his. But you don't see that plastered around the quote unquote mainstream media. It goes on to say, quote, this is from Memoli to Fauci, quote, I think the way we are using the jabs is wrong. I'm reading. I think the way we are using the jabs is wrong. Read between the lines. I'm not saying the words. I don't want this video to get taken down. They try to demonetize us and do all kinds of stuff. Let's keep going. Memoli, who has reportedly applied for jab exemptions. Now think about this. Okay, so think about this. This is Mr. Memoli. He works directly with the one that they call the savior, Dr. Fauci. He works directly with all of those clinical trials, all of the jab trials. He works directly with those hospitals they tell us are overcrowded. And he has applied for a medical exemption. He has not been fired. He has been at his job for 16 years over there at the NIH. Think about this. And he has applied for a medical exemption. Once again, not telling you how to think. I'm just opening your eyes to difference of opinions. The difference of opinion. They will tell you one thing on CNN and on TV, MSNBC. But I'm reading right here. This man who works directly with CNN savior, Dr. Anthony Fauci, has applied for jab exemptions. And he knows all the numbers. He knows all the numbers of the people that are in the hospital, but he also knows all the numbers of the people that have recovered. He understands who has died and who has recovered. When there's a lot more of them that have recovered that have actually died, that have actually been severely ill, that have actually been drastically, had their lives drastically changed. He understands all of these numbers. Let me know in the chat that you're following along with me. This is a man who's been at the top of his job for 16 years. This is not by accident, but let's continue to read. Hit the thumbs up button while we're in here heavy. Hit the thumbs up button. She's applied for jab exemptions. Favors the jab. Now listen to what he has to say. I'm reading right here. He said he favors the jab in vulnerable populations. Vulnerable populations, those with pre-existing health conditions, those who are elderly, those who are more susceptible to getting sick. He favors the jab in those populations, and I do too. That makes sense. But listen to what he goes on to say. Now, once again, this is for educational purposes, so please don't take us down, but you know how this thing works. But he argues, population level jab could hinder the development of what? Natural, robust immunity gained through infection. Now, if you cut on the news or turn on social media, certain pundits will tell you that natural immunity isn't a thing, that natural immunity is fake, that natural immunity it's like make believe. It's like fairy tale or pixie dust or, something that doesn't make sense, right? That's what they'll tell you. Don't believe me? I love, guys, you guys know I love sharing the facts, right? So we know Brother Reza Islam has been banned from like every social media platform. Every time he gets one, they take him down, right? And so this is what Reza Islam put out today on his Instagram, his 7th Instagram page, by the way. And you can feel how you feel about Reza Islam. I'm not saying he's a perfect guy, but I like Reza. I think he's really dope and he's really smart. And he put this out there, and this is so true. He says, I'll make sure you guys can see it. He says, so the hashtag natural immunity hashtag is still blocked. So think about this. The natural immunity hashtag is blocked, even though a doctor that works directly with Dr. Anthony Fauci works for the NIH, the one who everybody is quoting and everybody is using, has worked there for 16 years, has said that natural immunity is actually beneficial, right? Those that get sick, recover, and they have the antibodies. He says that's actually really, really beneficial. But natural immunity, the hashtag is blocked. And I didn't know this. I didn't know the hashtag was blocked, right? So I get on Reza's page, and he has the hashtag natural immunity on here. I'm like, it's blocked. It looked like you're using it right there, right? So I click it. I clicked it. And what does it say? Let me make sure you guys can read that. Sorry, this page isn't available. I'm like, what? I know for a fact at least one person used it. He has it right here. Reza has it right here. It says, so the hashtag natural immunity is blocked. I'm like, it's blocked. I'm looking at you use it right there. And I click it, and it's nowhere to be found. Nowhere to be found. It is actually blocked on Instagram. Well, Instagram is owned by Metaverse, so therefore it's blocked on Metaverse too, aka Facebook. So it's blocked. And I'm like, wow. I'm sitting here reading a doctor actually say that natural immunity is beneficial, that everyone getting the jab actually hinders the jab. It makes the jab less efficient, and that actually natural immunity is better. I'm reading. This is from the Wall Street Journal, from Matthew Memoli, Dr. Matthew Memoli, via the Wall Street Journal. Dr. Matthew Memoli, who was a 16-year doctor at the NIH, a senior leader doctor at the NIH that is set to debate Dr. Fauci and others within the program about the jab. But let's continue reading. We need to continue reading because I don't want to give you half context and someone say, oh, you only gave half the story. No, I'm not going out like that. We're gonna read this, and it's not a very long article, so we're gonna read this entire thing. Let's continue to read what Dr. Memoli has to say. So he says he argues population level I almost said it. Population level jabs could hinder the development of natural, robust immunity gained through infection. Let's continue reading. The 48-year-old says he has children who have received their childhood jabs, and he will support the result of the ethics discussion regardless of the outcome. So the ethics discussion is he's arguing that it's not ethical to force Americans to get the pandemic jab in order to work. He says it's not ethical. And he's saying, I told Fauci that back in July. And so he, Dr. Matthew Memoli, is going to have a debate that is live streamed against Fauci and I guess all of his colleagues who think the jab mandates should be in effect. And he's saying they shouldn't. So that is what the topic of all of this is about. But I'm also reading to you exactly what Mr. Memoli had to say, which is a lot. He had a lot to say, and he's going at all of them. Be sure to hit the thumbs up button. Hit the thumbs up button because we are in here heavy. It's a lot of you guys. We're in here deep. So hit the thumbs up button. Let's continue to read what Mr. Memoli has to say. This is on the Hill via the Wall Street Journal. So it's credible journalism for those, not some blogger. This is the Wall Street Journal. It's pretty credible, I'd say. Sometimes, I guess. I don't know. I don't even know what's credible and what's not anymore. It depends. Okay, let's keep going. He says, I do jab trials. I, in fact, helped create the jabs. He told the Wall Street Journal. He says, quote, part of my career is to share my expert opinion. Think about this. He says, part of my career is to share my expert opinion, right or wrong. I mean, if they all end up saying I'm wrong, that's fine. I just want to have the discussion. I just want to have the discussion. That's all the man is saying. And that is a discussion that's not being had enough. Because here's the thing. This is why this is so important. Because right now, the narrative is, if you don't have the jab, you are some kind of villain. You're some kind of criminal. You're some kind of bad person. You're some kind of person that needs to be over there and exiled. And some people are calling it the new Jim Crow. I don't want to go that far, but I'm not knocking him for saying it. Because how in the hell are you going to say, just because I don't have a jab that's been created within the last year? So if you're 50 years old, right? You went 48 of your years without this jab, 49 of your years without this jab, and now all of a sudden you have to take it to go to work. You have to take it to go to the gym. You have to take it to go to the grocery store. You have to take it to go in a restaurant. I've lived 48 years without this jab. 48 years. And now all of a sudden you're giving me a free jab, free medicine that is supposed to help me. All the other medicines that help me cost money. Insulin costs money. Cancer treatment costs money. Anytime you visit a hospital, it costs money. Don't have insurance, you'll find out really quick how expensive these things are. But now this thing that's supposed to save my life, no matter how I eat, no matter how I exercise, no matter how I live my life, it's supposed to save it. It's free. This magic potion is free. Come on. Come on, man. Like, come on. You really? Oh, wow. The Moderna stock you could have got in January of 2020. We did this in one of my previous videos. The Moderna stock was hovering around $20 a share. If we look at it today, it's over $300. Nearing clear over at one point it's like $370. I think it's dipped a little bit, but it's well over $300 right now. Before the pandemic, it was under $20. You could have got a Moderna stock, a share of Moderna for $18 a share. Under $20. Come on, y'all. Come on. Just let me know in the chat that you understand where I'm coming from. Let me know in the chat that you understand what I'm saying. Let me know in the chat that I'm making some kind of sense. Now, remember, these people have been telling you, listen to Dr. Fauci. Dr. Fauci has all the answers. Dr. Fauci knows no wrong. The AIDS epidemic can kind of tell you a different story, but we'll let you dive into that. Dr. Fauci AIDS, right? Dr. Fauci AIDS epidemic, how he was recommending a drug that was killing people. He was recommending a drug that was killing people. But that's neither here nor there. But now we have this doctor who was a colleague of Dr. Fauci, who says he creates jab, who says his children have other jabs, but they don't have this one, and he doesn't have this one. And he is going to argue with his own colleagues, a 16-year doctor at the NIH, the National Institute of Health, is a colleague of Dr. Fauci at the NIH, is a colleague of Dr. Fauci at the National Disease of Disease and Control. He's a colleague of Fauci at both of these programs, 16-year veteran, senior doctor. Is saying no, jab mandates are not the answer. Jab mandates are not beneficial. Jab mandates actually hinder the population more than they help the population. And I told Dr. Fauci this back in July. We're now in November. I told Dr. Fauci this back in July. We are now in November. He told Dr. Fauci this back in July. We are now in November. This isn't just like me making this up. We just read the article together. Hit the thumbs up button, like, share, subscribe. Make sure, let me know in the chat. We read this together. We just read this article on the Hill via the Wall Street Journal, directly talking about Dr. Fauci and Dr. Matthew Memoli. And they are having a debate about whether jab mandates are more beneficial or more detrimental. And Mr. Dr. Matthew Memoli believes they're more detrimental. Now, this also plays into the sporting world, right? You guys know that I cover a lot of sports. I'm into sports. I do that. I talk about these things. And Kyrie Irving, let me know in the chat that you're following along, that you know what's taking place with Kyrie Irving. So for those of you who don't know who Kyrie Irving is, he's a very, very good basketball player, highly paid NBA basketball player. He plays for the Brooklyn Nets. Now, obviously, New York City, for those of you who don't know, has a jab mandate saying that if you want to participate in anything indoors, restaurants, gyms, arenas, sporting events, anything indoors, you must have the jab. If you do not have the jab, you're not permitted to go to indoor activities in New York City. Well, obviously, Brooklyn is in New York City. So Kyrie Irving has taken a stance, and salute to Kyrie. B1 to Kyrie, salute to him. He said, you can't tell me what to put in my body. I'd rather just sit out the season than to be forced into doing something that I do not feel comfortable doing. And so why does all of this Memoli, this Fauci, this Kyrie Irving, all this stuff intertwines? Because one way that America tries to push certain things is through sports. Whether it's jabs, a certain lifestyle, a certain culture, certain whatever, they push it through athletics. They push it through sports because sports is a multi-billion-dollar industry. There's millions and millions and millions of eyeballs at all times watching things that are involved with sports, especially the NBA and the NFL, especially the NBA and the NFL. All things sports have millions and millions of dollars, billions of dollars pushed into it because there's millions of eyeballs that are always on it and billions of dollars being exchanged. So here is what the NBA has come out with recently. I'm going to share my screen and share with you this tweet from a guy by the name of Shams Charania, who is a lead NBA reporter. Now, Shams says, sources, which means he's very vetted. He's an established journalist. Says sources. The NBA and the NBA PA. Let me make sure you guys can see this. Read what I'm about to read to you. Sources. The NBA and the NBA PA are now recommending that all players, coaches, front office, and personnel who are tier 1 should receive the booster if received the J&J jab at least 2 months ago and the Pfizer and Moderna at least 6 months ago. See, this is what Kyrie Irving was telling us about. This is why Kyrie Irving refused to get the jab. The NBA and the NBA PA are now recommending that all players, coaches, front office, and personnel who are tier 1 should receive the booster jab. Now you got to think about NBA players. What are NBA players? They're abnormal human beings. The average height of an NBA player is 6'5", right? The average height of an American male is like 5'10". So they're already abnormal. But they're also abnormal in the way that they are conditioned and their health. Have you seen NBA players in like real life? Like, let me know in the chat if you guys have seen NBA players in real life. These guys are all super tall, super chiseled, super athletic. Like, they're a rare species when it comes to athleticism, when it comes to their build, when it comes to their physique. Why am I bringing all this up? Because wouldn't you say they're pretty damn healthy? Now, some of them eat like crap, especially the young ones, but they're abnormally healthy because all they do is run up and down the court. They run up and down the basketball court for 2 hours. Run up and down, just get cardio out of this world. And then when they're not running up and down the court at the games, they're running up and down the court at practice. They're running suicides. Let me know in the chat if you played high school basketball. Some of you might have played college basketball. Hell, some of you might even played pro basketball. You understand how well conditioned you have to be to play the game of basketball at any level, especially competitively and especially at the NBA level. So with all that health, these guys have chefs. These guys have nutritionists. These guys have trainers that work on them constantly. And with all of that, the NBA and the NBAPA is recommending the booster jab. Now, remember when the jabs first came out, they told us that you get it and you won't be able to catch it and you won't be able to spread it. Then it changed to you get it and you won't be able to spread it, but you can still catch it. And then it changed from if you get the jab, well, you can still catch it, you can still spread it, but hey, severe hospitalizations go rapidly down. And so that's where we were left at. But now it's if you get the jab, both jabs, jabbity jab, then guess what? You still got to get a booster jab. And then you got to get a booster pill. And then you got to do X, Y, and Z and jump through all these hoops. And we don't give a damn who you are. If you're the best athletes in the world, NBA guys, you still need a booster jab. And I'm trying to make it make sense. I am trying to make it make sense. Now, once again, I am not telling you how to think. I am not telling you what direction you should go. I'm just presenting the facts. This is another tweet put out by Shams Charania. Once again, one of the best NBA reporters in the world, period. Shams is the best. So his information is valid. It's valid to me. I don't question it. It says the NBA informed teams today that all players who received the J&J jab at least 2 months ago will be subject to game day testing beginning December 1st if they do not receive the booster. So what does this mean? This means this is how they get you. This is how they get you because they do stuff to the athletes hoping that the athletes would influence the masses. They do stuff to the athletes to hope that the athletes influence the masses. Because what are the majority of NBA players? They look like me and you. 70% of the NBA, 75% of the NBA is black. So if I force these black men essentially to get, because this is how they get you. They get you to do these things or they're just going to be annoying. Just going to be annoying. They told us, remember, originally, all of these jabs were supposed to prevent having to randomly get tested all the time. But now it's like, all right, screw that. If you got the jab 2 months ago, starting December 1st, if you don't get a booster, then we're going to start testing you every game. It's a lot of games in the NBA. It's a lot of games take place in the NBA after December 1st. So a lot of guys are going to do what? They're just going to get the booster. They don't give a damn. They're not going to look into it. They're not going to do more research. They're just going to do it because they don't want to be annoyed all the time. They don't want to be bothered all the time. And they're hoping that these people influence the masses because sports influences the masses. How did I know that the official, pandemic had taken place? It was when the NBA shut down. So the NBA and the virus will forever be linked. Because once the NBA shut down, that's kind of when everybody, at least in this country, knew, whoa, something is up with this virus. So they're continuing to link the NBA with the virus by doing things like this. It'll say December 1st for those who got the J&J jab. By March or something, it'll say those who got the Pfizer, what's 4 months after December? By April, a lot of teams will be done playing, but by April, they'll say if you got the Pfizer or Moderna jab, you will have to take the booster or you'll be subject to every game testing. And so they're hoping the guys will just be, to hell with getting tested all the time. That's annoying as hell. I'll just get the booster jab and just do whatever takes place. And hopefully is what they're hoping, that you will influence the masses to go out and do the same thing. Guys, this stuff isn't by accident. I mean, I don't know how else to put it. Once again, I'm not telling you how to think. If you get the jab, hey, go for it. If you don't, go for it. I don't care. But I'm not telling you how to think. All I'm saying is this is what's taking place. This is what's happening. This is what they're pushing on. This is the narrative that's being pushed. But there is literally a doctor that works in the same building, in the same department, alongside Dr. Anthony Fauci, that has asked for a medical exemption from the jab and is actually vouching for less people to get the jab. He's actually vouching for natural immunity. This is not me making this stuff up. This is what I just read to you. He is vouching for natural immunity, a hashtag that is being banned across social media. We just pulled it up. If you click the natural immunity hashtag on social media, it will not pop up. It will say it is not a thing. They will tell you that it is not a thing. Let's run through it one more time, just for good measure. I want to show you. I'm sharing my screen once again. This is a post from Riza Islam, posted just a few hours ago. It says, so the hashtag natural immunity is still blocked. And you trust them? I'm not telling you to trust, but I was like, dang, I just read where this doctor said natural immunity is a good thing. And I go to this hashtag and it says, sorry, this page isn't available. Once again, I'm not telling you how to think. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm not telling you where to go, what direction. I'm just presenting the facts. I just read where Dr. Matthew Memoli of the NIH, 16-year veteran, senior doctor of the NIH, has applied for a medical exemption from the jab and is going to have a live debate against Dr. Fauci on why he believes jab mandates are stupid. This is his words, not mine. It says they're dumb, they're pointless, they shouldn't take place, and that natural immunity is a real thing. That natural immunity is actually more beneficial than everybody getting the jab. He says people who are high risk need to get the jab, absolutely. But for the masses, natural immunity works. This is what he's saying. And these are the facts I'm presenting to you. From there, you go forth and do what you feel is best for you and your family. But this man wouldn't be applying. He helps create these jabs. He helps create jabs. He helps those. Does that. He's in the trenches in that work. And he's applied for an exemption. And he's going to debate his colleagues live on why he doesn't believe the whole country should get jabbed, on why he believes natural immunity is a beneficial thing. But this hashtag is blocked on social media? That makes no sense. That don't make no sense, guys. And I showed you how they go after the athletes. That's why they went so hard after Kyrie Irving, because they wanted to trickle down from athletics to the common public, to the general public. And that's why they make it to where you, in certain cities, well, you can't go to sporting events without getting the jab. The hope is that you just get the jab because you want to go see your favorite team play. The hope is that you go get the jab to go watch Kevin Durant and James Harden, or to go watch the Las Vegas Raiders, or to go watch something in LA, or to go watch something the Golden State Warriors out in San Francisco. They're just up like, man, dang, just get it over with. I'm trying to go see my favorite team play a game. All the while, a doctor from the same organization as Dr. Fauci says, that's actually not the best idea. And he told Fauci this back in July, 3 months ago, and we're just now hearing about it today. Take with that information, do with it as you may. Once again, my name is Jeff Lighty Jr. with the Black Boss Channel. Thank you guys for tuning in. You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at JLighty7, Instagram and Twitter at JLighty7, where we have conversations like this every single day. You can follow me on Facebook. It's Jeff Lighty Sports on Facebook. Jeff Lighty Sports on Facebook. And then at always, theblackbosschannel.com. That is theblackbosschannel.com. Thank you guys all for tuning in. Hit the thumbs up button on your way out. And I'll see you next time. Peace.